because not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. So why is Krishna making that person say or act like that? That's how we should look at it. Right? And even if you didn't make a mistake in that moment, we may have made that mistake 100 times just prior to that moment. So this is for all the times previously that you made that mistake. Even if in that moment you're not making that mistake. So what do you lose? And then even if you don't make a mistake and they're criticizing, you say, okay, this opportunity for me to again look at my own shortcoming, my own disqualification. This is the work I need to do on myself. And let me tolerate it. Right? So much uncontrolled mind and senses means adibodhaka. Means misery and disturbance, unhappiness caused by others. Right? So that adibodhaka sangha is actually beneficial to us because then we're forced to pray for tolerance. Please let me just tolerate all the disturbances which are also not only from our own mind, our own body, but the uncontrolled mind and bodies of others. Okay, Krishna, please let me just tolerate it. Again, internalizing it for our own spiritual benefit. But because we're living externally instead of internally, then we're prone to this type of external fault finding, criticizing, defending, attacking, and then not seeing it as a spiritual opportunity to find fault with ourselves, to realize material world is not a nice place because everybody is envious, jealous, uncontrolled mind and senses. They are disturbed and they will gladly share their disturbance with you. Free of charge. They won't even charge you for it, which is outrageous is when they charge you for it. So, okay, how do I tolerate it? Right? All these miseries, all these, what is it, like faults, what is it, the threefold miseries. It's actually for a devotee very beneficial. Because then we realize, what is this place? There's no gentleman, there's no lady, there's no real friend. It's just all Maya, uncontrolled mind and senses, envious, argumentative, misunderstanding everything. Right? It causes so much disturbance. So that's the material world. That's the prison house. That's what's to be expected here. Why is this a shock that people are behaving like this? That means we have a false expectation. You want to associate with perfect gentleman and lady, go to Vaikuntha. Don't expect that in the material world with people who have uncontrolled mind and senses and enviousness and jealousy with fault-finding, criticizing tendency. Why would you expect anything more than that here from these people?
But sometimes the person is acting in such a way with us, then we went there to talk to that person and the person admits, I was envious, that's why I was acting like this and nothing changed. Or just sometimes say, who cares, like that, something like that to us. So it's like something's not just coming from our mind, it's really happening.
Right.
And it affects our...
Right, so if it's really happening and that person admits that, please excuse me, I didn't chant properly today, I didn't purify this mad mind. Unfortunately, it's like having a dog, a vicious dog, without a leash. Or you have a long leash, right? And it just goes around biting everybody, right? And if you realize, if you have a dog on a long leash and he goes and bites some people, then don't you go over there and say, please excuse me, I let my mad mind, my dog of a mind, create some pain or disturbance for you or bite you, please excuse me. Right? So then you, as devotee, then you'll appreciate. Right? It's okay. Thank you for, realizing your mistake. But can you imagine how busy we would be all day going around and telling everybody, please excuse me? We couldn't do any other seva.
Please excuse me.
I'm sorry, Sanatan, I'm very busy today. I have to go around and I have to apologize to everybody that my vicious dog of a mind has bit today. Right, I have no time to do any other seva. So that's one thing, if someone admits it, right? Sometimes yes, it is true. He spoke improperly, or he's not kind, or he's not acting like devotee, right? So then you have to tolerate it. If sometimes they realize, I made a mistake, please excuse me, and it's genuine, then you say, okay, I also sometimes have this problem myself. I'm also working on that problem myself, but I appreciate your realizing that. I don't really take it so personal because I know what is the nature of this material world, material consciousness. I don't take it so personal.
Everybody's driving around drunk.
Do you understand the point?
But this also can be use it as an excuse to act according to how I want, because if somebody says something, it's like, he's finding fault on me. So it seems like we have to tolerate anything, and sometimes affect our spiritual life and our sadhana and everything. And then
why are you letting it? Why are you letting it, whether it's true or not? Why are you letting it disturb you?
Because I'm not strong enough yet.
So that's your fault then.
Then what to do?
And recognize that's my problem. I don't have enough energy to worry about that guy. I need to worry about why I can't tolerate it. Why am I now disturbed the whole day? Why is my false ego so big and so agitated that I cannot tolerate that? What is your reaction? We're wasting all of our time, putting all of our energy at somehow justifying ourselves, arguing our position, criticizing him, saying this is injustice, unfair. We just burned all of our energy unnecessarily, uselessly, when we could have used it to internalize it, to realize this is another opportunity for me to realize my fault, and try to take a humble position and pray for power of tolerance. Even if it's true that they unfairly found fault with you, for whatever their reason is, that's their problem. Why should I make it my problem? So how is it that we're making it our problem? If you're expecting Vaikuntha behavior from the inmates in the prison house, you're a fool. You have a false expectation. How can people with uncontrolled mind and senses on a false ego platform ever properly think or speak or act towards you properly? Expect it. Prepare for it. Now, how much are you going to let it affect you? That's your challenge. Expect it. Why are we so surprised and shocked by that? You follow my point? So why are you getting so upset?
But why do we always have to tolerate and not just to just to leave
because
it? Because
everything happens by the will of the Lord. If Krishna doesn't use Maya to give them this misunderstanding and to speak or act in a way, or the strength, intelligence to speak and act in a way to challenge you, rightly or wrongly, it can't happen. So how is Krishna allowing this person through Maya to misunderstand you and to speak or act in a way which is disturbing? That means Krishna's doing it. Krishna's allowing it. So what is my ability to understand it in that way? And what do I need to do to not react or overreact to that? It's because we're seeing that separate from Krishna. That's the problem. They could never do like that unless Krishna allows it. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. So if it's moving, who's moving it like that? It's Krishna. Nothing is going on except Krishna. Krishna's doing. No, he's doing, she's doing, he's doing, they're doing. No, it's Krishna. Why is Krishna using Maya to make them misunderstand and find fault and criticize you? Why are they just coming, have the strength and the boldness to come and say or do something against you? Who's allowing that to happen? Krishna. Now how do I benefit is I say, what can I learn by my action or reaction to that? If you're internally studying yourself and your action and reaction and you're being honest about it, then you'll see, why am I letting this disturb me like that? That means I have false ego. I'm not seeing it from Krishna conscious perspective, and my overreaction means that I could not tolerate because of my false ego. That means that's my fault. Why not turn it around and use it to your own advantage as an opportunity? You should think, why did Krishna allow that to happen? Why is Krishna doing like that? What is Krishna, how Krishna testing me? Even devotees are getting beaten, right? Who's doing that? They say, oh, Krishna's testing me. Krishna is doing this to me. He's burning off all of my sinful reactions.
Why then, sometimes Prabhupada said many times actually about the importance of choose our association.
Of what?
Choose properly our association to those who increase our spiritual life and help us in our spiritual life. So sometimes if we can tolerate anything then why should we choose our association?
But if you hide somewhere and you try to cloister yourself somewhere, right? Do you think that Maya will still not attack you? So still it's an opportunity. When you move in the society, you have every opportunity. If you just hide yourself and you think, okay, I have so much tolerance, I have so much nice qualities, you're singing your own praises. Okay, let's see when somebody comes out of nowhere, just appears and starts criticizing you. Then you're like, whoa, I thought I was free from the false ego. Yeah, because nobody was approaching your false ego. Now all of a sudden Krishna's making somebody, deflecting or
Pushing your buttons.
Pushing buttons or triggering you.
Yeah.
Right? And then, wow, then we way overreact. And then Krishna says, you see, you think you're free from that. But I just sent this person to agitate you on purpose, to test you, to show you.
So does that mean that person is right to do that?
Huh?
Does that mean that person is not wrong to do that because Krishna is controlling that person?
Can they think and do and say unless Krishna is doing? Do they have any choice but to think and to say and to act like that?
It's a little bit confusing.
Huh?
It's a little bit confusing. Because seems like, for example, I can
every part of our body, gross body, subtle body, soul, everything belongs to Krishna. The whole thing belongs to Krishna. And Krishna is the controller of his energies, gross, subtle, and spiritual energies. Krishna is controlling those things. So anything that's happening to us, Krishna is doing it.
Yes.
That's Krishna doing it. Because their body, their mind, their soul, everything belongs to Krishna and is controlled by Krishna. So they can't possibly have the strength, intelligence, and words and action unless Krishna is doing it. You're not realizing that means that it's all Maya, you're in Maya. Because it says anything that you see that's separate from Krishna, that's Maya. So why are we seeing these situations as being separate from Krishna? That means we're in Maya. We're not understanding it. That's why Krishna says, those who are bewildered by their false ego, they think they're doing it. When in actuality, Krishna says, I'm doing it. So if our false ego is thinking we're doing everything, then we'll also think they're doing everything. Automatically. If you realize we're not doing anything, Krishna's doing. That's why Prabhupada said all we can do is desire. That's all a soul can do, is to desire. If you want materialism, then Krishna will give you intelligence, material strength, how to pursue your desire. You want to forget Krishna? Okay, here's a covered consciousness, here's material intelligence, material strength. Here's a field of material activities where you can think that you're enjoying based on your desire. If we desire Krishna and want to serve Krishna, then Krishna will give you spiritual intelligence and spiritual strength and a spiritual environment and association to do spiritual activity. So the strength, the intelligence, the field, that is all up to Krishna based on our desire. So what do you think's happening to you that Krishna is not doing to you? But because we're in Maya and the false ego, we're thinking and doing many things on our own. No, Krishna is the controller of your mind and senses. But we're thinking, no, I'm the controller of my mind and senses. I'm the controller of my destiny. No, all we can do is desire. Then Krishna does the rest, either using internal spiritual energy or external material energy. That's the only difference. Is it going to be Yoga Maya or Mahamaya? So what are we think happening or going on or happening to us that Krishna is not doing? So why are you blaming that person? Why not say, oh, Krishna just set me up and he just made this situation and sent this person to me to test me, to show me what platform am I really on. That I have no tolerance, big false ego, no ability to take humble position. We want to defend ourselves, we want to argue our point, we want to not tolerate and then disrespect that person and give him pain because he just gave us pain. That means we're seeing the whole thing separate from Krishna. That means we're in Maya, and Krishna just exposed that by just using anybody. And you can say, okay, I'm going to avoid that person's association because every time that guy or lady comes in my life, it blows up. Okay? Right? That's what Adam says about Sanatana. If I can just stay away from this guy, I can avoid a lot of pain and aggravation in my life. Right?
I was thinking the same.
Huh?
I was thinking the same.
I know. But do you think there's not another Sanatana out there?
Unfortunately.
Huh? This is very humbling for you. Right? So you can try to avoid, this is Krishna. Krishna's doing. Alright? Don't defend yourself. Don't argue your side. Okay, Krishna's doing. Right? So you try to avoid one person's association. Well, guess what? A new guy will come, knock on the door and say, I want to join your ashram. And you open the door and he looks alright and he starts interacting with you and it turns out to be another Sanatana.
It happens already.
Huh?
Already happens.
Right? So you cannot avoid Sanatana. He's gonna come and manifest one way or another. Jamni Prabhu said, life after life, there will be another Sanatana. Sanatana means eternal. Right? So life after life, Sanatana will come into your life, right, to teach you a valuable lesson, or many lessons that we need to learn. Why don't you say, Sanatana, you are making me such a nice, better devotee? Don't say that. Sometimes we say, we have one Mother K from France. We have different devotees. I call them like Adi Bodhika Das, Adi Bodhika Dasi. They're like very, very important in the mission. So Krishna just sends them in, right? And they purposefully, totally will disturb you. And that's their job. That's their service. Otherwise, how you'll pray? How you'll pray for the power of tolerance if there's no reason to tolerate? How you'll try to see your own fault and take a humble position unless they point out your fault? Why you don't look at it as spiritual opportunity? Why do you feel offended? Right? If some crazy guy comes and starts saying some things against you, right? Why would you take it serious? Not that Sanatan's crazy, but let's say if he doesn't have controlled mind and senses, he's a madman. If any of us don't have control of mind and senses, we're madmen. Right? Why are you study your reaction? That's why Krishna is doing it. And ultimately, it's a test for the time of death.
Yes.
Which is the ultimate disturbance.
Yes.
So all these little bits of disturbances that Krishna is causing is just basically to show us you have no tolerance. You cannot tolerate. You're not as humble and tolerant and advanced as you may think you are. Because look at your reaction. If your reaction is fearful, disturbed, you cannot tolerate, you should be humbled by that. But what do? Why is this person attacking me? It's unfair, it's unjust. I did so many things to help you. Right? When you called about the one devotee, I can't believe he did like this to me. It's so painful. I don't deserve it. And I said, well, why don't you just see that Krishna just exposed you? Why are you expecting somebody with uncontrolled mind and senses to treat you any differently? That's your misunderstanding. That's your misconception. And then your overreaction to that means that you're in material consciousness and viewing him and that relationship as a material bodily friend
Yes.
or family member.
Yes. Yes.
That means the whole thing is in Maya. And therefore Maya is just creating this misunderstandings to expose that. So we always have to try. You have to try to start somewhere. We have to try to internalize and study our reactions, because our reactions are very, very valuable to us, because it's a snapshot of where you are in that present moment. You can learn so much from your own reaction to Krishna's testing us. But instead of taking that opportunity for our own spiritual benefit, we're too busy lashing out externally at who? At Krishna? Krishna did that to you. Krishna tested you. Maya cannot do anything without Krishna. Why Maya is creating so much misunderstanding, so much conflict, so much disturbance? That's her job. That's her service.
And it seems like Krishna put exactly what is the most difficult for us in the spiritual life. Seems like he put exactly that thing in our life sometimes. Because this is the most difficult
Krishna is not going to test us in the things that we already understand or that we're already good at. That's not required. It's like if you're in school, the teacher's not going to give you exams in those things you already know and you can easily do. That's easy. She's going to test you and say, oh, this is your weak point. This is where you have some area that you can improve yourself. So Maya will always go to your weakest point, because that has to be built up. That's what you have to work on. Why not see it as an opportunity? And the spiritual master, what is he doing? Right? He's finding your weak point. He's finding what you're doing wrong. He's finding where you need to improve. He's not there to just flatter you and encourage you in what you're already doing right. We want perfection. We're looking for spiritual perfection. That means we have to understand what is our fault. What is our fault? Where are we falling short? What do we need to work on? And the spiritual master, Chanika Pandit says, he's there to find your faults. The father, the teacher, the guru, the leader, he's not there to flatter you and build up your self-esteem and keep you in ignorance. He's there to always humble you. Because we have so many faults that we're not seeing, that we don't want to see, and he's pointing it out. Here it is again. And we don't like it. Then we say, look, you have no right to point out my fault when I've done so much for you. That should be enough that you'll not find my fault and disturb my mind. That's another trick of Maya, where we believe that because we're not understanding it properly. And then the guru's trying to explain it to you, and you can't hear anything because you feel offended, you feel disturbed, your false ego is agitated. And the guru's saying, if you humble yourself and you take shelter of holy name, purify your consciousness, then it can all be nicely explained to you. But in this consciousness, where you're totally agitated on a false ego material platform, what will you understand how Krishna is working, why Krishna is doing, what is the lesson, spiritual lesson to be learned? How are you going to understand it? when something happens, we should not say Sanatan did this to me. Oh, he already ran away? I know. Thank you. Thank you. If something happens, we should say, Krishna did that to me. Why? Hey, you came back! Whoa! Krishna did that to me. Why you say Sanatan did that to you? So that means we have lack of Krishna consciousness. And that's why Krishna set us up to expose that you can't be humble, you can't look at your own fault, you cannot tolerate nicely, and now you're attacking. So the very same thing that you were criticizing that person for, now you're doing the same thing. So you're no better than that person. So Krishna set you up to expose what is the reality of your actual position. But in our ignorance, in our deaf, dumb, and blindness, we're not seeing how Krishna is there and doing like this. This is a great injustice has been done this morning. What? By Krishna? It just shows that we're not as Krishna conscious as we think we are. Because it means we're not seeing how Krishna is behind it. And our overreaction to that exposes what is our actual consciousness and position. And instead of studying that reaction and trying to find an opportunity to take humble position to learn something, we're too busy lashing out and building our case and making politics with everyone else against that person. That's our reaction? That's what why Krishna set this up for you to do like this? That's a total misunderstanding which creates chaos because we're not internalizing it and understanding it from a Krishna conscious perspective. If we're not doing the work internally, when these things happen, we're not used to internalizing and taking the lesson. If you're used to, if you cultivate and practice internal finding fault with yourself and being honest about it with Guru and Krishna, and then condemning yourself and humbling yourself and praying, I have to do better, then when you hear it outside or see it from the outside, you're not shocked by it. You won't misunderstand it because you're already doing it regularly, cultivating that understanding internally. It's not like some big surprise.
Yeah.
Wow, this person said I'm puffed up.
Oh, wow.
It's like, wow, why are they doing this to me?
Yeah.
But if all day long you're saying I'm so puffed up, I'm so stupid, I'm not coming up to the standard that Guru and Krishna are expecting from me. So if somebody else says, yes, you're not coming up to the standard that Guru and Krishna are expecting of you, you'll be like, I know, this is my frustration, this is my dissatisfaction with my own inability to apply the process, to cooperate with the process. This is my problem, this is what I'm working on. Why is it like some big, like out of nowhere? Why is this person saying this to me? Why is this so surprising? Make sense? You understand? Can you hear me? That's good. It's funny, this morning, when I was getting ready, I was thinking on this point. I was already meditating on this topic. And then this thing coming up. Because Krishna knows what we need to hear. Right? Everyone, any question? You understand? Yeah?
Sometimes, like, my mind just goes to, like, nothingness, because, like, I need to relax it, like, it just, like, goes to nothingness, but, like, you want to try and pray to Krishna and, like, do whatever you can to improve yourself.
Sometimes my mind what?
Sometimes her mind goes to nothingness. And what was it?
Like, it just tries to, like, relax.
If it goes to nothingness, that means you're sleeping.
Yeah, but, like, you're, like, daydreaming, you know?
But what?
You're, like, daydreaming, basically, like,
Nothing.
You want to try to improve yourself.
yeah, you want to, like, keep praying to Krishna, but you're just
You're getting some
asleep.
extra special mercy with us.
You want to pray to Krishna, but
you
you're just,
better
like,
be
sleeping.
humble. Krishna's doing this to you.
She says she wants to pray to Krishna, but she's like in sleep mode in her head.
You're conscious that you're in sleep mode in your head. That's progress.
But it's like a flame, because like I want to relax, you know, like relax my mind. But like it's
There's
not,
no relaxation for the mind
yeah.
unless it's with Krishna. When it's with Krishna, Krishna will relax your mind.
Because I'm stressed when I'm like relaxing, like the mind, like I'm like,
There is no relaxation.
yeah.
The only relaxation is when we agree to surrender to Krishna. And then Krishna relaxes it for you. Because you finally got the point. Now you want to surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will purify and control your mad mind. That's the only place, that's why it says only devotees, only Krishna devotee bhakta, only they can be peaceful. So when we want, and by nature we want to be peaceful, Prabhupada said you just don't know how to do it. So trying to relax the mind without surrendering to Krishna is impossible. If we agree to serve Krishna, then Krishna will purify and relax our mind and our senses. Then you get the freedom, relief. This is the real anti-anxiety medication. This is the real anti-depression medication. Unfailing medicine. Not some temporary, artificial, mechanical adjustment, chemically or otherwise. Make sense? So when we're tired of being sick and tired, then we'll surrender to Krishna. That's the only place of real shelter and peace and happiness. And Maya is just forcing us to realize that point. So she's helping us to take shelter of Krishna. So when we're very disturbed and agitated, nobody wants to be disturbed and agitated. So you can stay like that, or you can just say, okay, let me just take complete shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna and Holy Name. It's the only place of peace and happiness. So all these disturbances by Maya and through other personalities, it's Maya, is driving us when you cannot tolerate the threefold miseries to take shelter of Holy Name, Krishna. So for devotee, Hare Krishna, for devotee, they see it as opportunity. Instead of complaining about it, we'll say, oh, I was not completely taking shelter of Krishna, Krishna, Holy Name. Now this situation is so painful, so disturbing. speak Russian?
Русский говорит, да? Единственное, что это говорит.
Он будет переводить.
Мы ненадолго здесь можем.
Садись.
Ты русский?
Русский.
Right? So when you're so disturbed, sometimes we're so disturbed we don't know what are we doing.
I cannot even pray if I'm disturbed.
We don't even know.
I don't even think.
We don't even know. We're so overwhelmed. We're just dealing with the disturbance and we forget that you should take shelter of Krishna. Because you're in so much Maya, so contaminated by Maya. Maya's not going to remind you to take shelter of the holy name to get free from your disturbance. Only Krishna or Krishna's devotees. We can't hear Krishna. Krishna's telling, just surrender to me and I'll solve it. We can't hear him because we're so disturbed. So then the devotee, then Krishna uses the devotees or the guru to tell us, please, just take shelter of holy name. Just pray to Krishna. Go in your room. Just cry before the holy name of Krishna. This is the only medicine. If you want to get free from your anxiety and your disturbance and your agitated mind, please take shelter of the holy name of the Lord. Because we're just out of the mind. The mind is too disturbed. So Krishna's devotees, then they remind, try to somehow or other loudly chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, associate with other devotees who are speaking about Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, and take a lot of prasadam. When you're really disturbed, take nice prasadam and chant holy name. Then gradually, pulse ego, mind, everything come down, man, It'll be more peaceful. You just need a better medicine. You need a better doctor. Right? Calm down, slow down. Many times we say to the just first of all, relax. Slow down, relax, catch your breath, breathe. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Then all of a sudden, by Krishna's mercy of holy name, everything calmed down. Right? This is the ultimate anti-anxiety medication.
Yeah.
Nothing else is required. Anything else will temporarily dull it, but it will come back worse. Because we're trying to cheat the system. It's like a cheating way how not to surrender to Krishna. So it can never work. Finally it will fail. And the only last thing that's still standing is Krishna holy name. And if we can learn that, that's a mercy of Maya. That forcing us to take shelter of chanting holy name. And anyone comes, friends, family, everybody wants to help you, right? They see you, like, leave me alone. You can't help me. You're only disturbing me. Then you'll just completely focus on holy name and take shelter of Krishna. And that training is what we will need when we are leaving this body. If we can't even think about Krishna when we're a little bit disturbed, we lose our mind. What happens when you're ready to die? We're not even closely prepared for that. We can't tolerate anything. Immediately our thoughts go, oh, then we go crazy. So without devotees, without the Guru Dev, without, say, hey, slow down. Just take shelter of Krishna's holy name. Just chant. Take prasadam. You know, the world is not going to blow up right now. Relax. Slow down. Breathe. Then slowly, by Krishna's mercy of holy name, everything can be solved out. So all of that disturbance is a blessing, because there's no other shelter. There's no other relief. There's no other place to go to become free from anxiety or fear or depression. Whatever disturbance is there. Krishna says, if you come to me and surrender to me, I'll free you. I'll purify you. I'll give you intelligence how to solve whatever is your problem, whatever you think is your problem. If the Maya, the pain, the reaction is not high enough, we'll not surrender to Krishna. When it's intolerable, you can't go one more second, then you'll surrender. So if Maya wants to speed it all up and increase the fire, which becomes intolerable, you cannot tolerate it, then we are forced to take shelter of the holy name. We're forced to take shelter of it. Because there's absolutely no other solution. And then when that works, when nothing else works, and you survive it, and then you become peaceful and happy, then you'll understand what is the value of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then you'll get so much faith. Then you're now preparing yourself for when you will have to die one day. Nobody will be there. Nobody can help you. We better have something. That means Krishna holy name. If everything, that's why the demigods have trouble to become pure devotees. Because the quality of life is so elevated and the sense enjoyment is so much prevalent there, they don't feel like they have to surrender. Because they're enjoying. But in this place, on this platform, with all of these miseries here, right? Krishna says, I designed this place to be a miserable place. It's temporary and it's miserable. Then if it's miserable enough and we cannot find any real peace and happiness, then what's going to happen? Then you have to surrender to Krishna. If we're enjoying and everything's going fine and we're having fun, and then we're not surrendering. We're just enjoying. We have enjoying tendency. We want easy-going life. Why does Queen Kunti say, let all of the problems and all the difficulties, all the calamities, let it happen again and again, no problem. Why? Because it's forcing me to surrender to Krishna. And if death comes in that moment and I'm thinking about Krishna, then I go back home like the Godhead. If I'm not in trouble and I'm not taking shelter of Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna, what if death comes right at that moment? Then whatever you're thinking about, then you take another material birth. Then you miss the opportunity. We don't even have to imitate Queen Kunti. Oh yes, Krishna. Let the calamities come up. We're even afraid to ask that prayer. We're having trouble digesting the present calamities.
Yeah, sufficient.
Right? Okay, let me try to digest these problems first. You know? Right? Are you ready to pray for more problems? You are? Be careful, man. Be careful what you ask for. Because you also have to be able to digest it. You have to be able to digest it and understand it properly. We can't even understand what's happening to us now. We misunderstand everything. And you want more? You're trying to understand and digest what just happened to you. That's why this devotee came to me, you know, what was his name? Stas. Our friend Stas, right? He said, you're my guru. I said, I don't know. He said, no, you're my guru. I said, I don't know. I don't know that I agreed yet. And he said, well, if you're my guru, you'll tell me all of my anarthas right now. I said, well, we don't have enough time, first of all. And even if we told you everything, I don't think you're ready to hear it. I don't think you'll understand it. I don't think you'll digest it. So just go slowly. Then gradually, Krishna will bring out all of these things. It may not be so pretty. Because we're thinking we're very great, we're very nice devotee, we're very sincere, we're very surrendered. We have very high impression of ourselves. We might be shocked by the reality of the situation. So just go slowly and step by step what you can understand and what you can digest, that will be given to you. So the doctor has a plan. Okay, we're working towards a long-term final treatment plan. But we have to start somewhere. So let's take it step by step by step, but he could not accept this answer. He said, no, if you're my guru, you'll tell me everything right now. How bad am I? What are all of my faults? What are all of my anarthas? So, how about, let's start with that you're so puffed up you can't even begin to understand my instruction. How about you didn't accept my answer? You didn't understand it, neither you accepted it. How's that for a start? Understand?
Excuse me, that devotee coming in 25 minutes.
Did he say? He called you? He said 25 minutes?
He said 11, we agreed to meet there. Now it's...
Did he call you? He just called you? And he said, I'll be there at 11? Okay, so I have a very important meeting. I think I gave you enough
Yes, Gurudev.
to think about,
Yes.
to pray about,
Yes.
right? Krishna's doing. Nothing else. Nobody else is doing to you. Krishna's doing. It's not Sanatana. It's not Adam. There'll be always another Adam. There'll always be another Sanatana. There's no shortage of these kinds of people.
Hare Krishna. Shri Gurudev ki!